What do you, when you're aware of my four doctor concept.
Of course.
So what do you find the hardest for you to integrate? So just a quick review for the listeners. Dr. Happy is the container. Dr. Happy represents the mind, and it represents the container for our values, because your values are how you make decisions, right? Conscious or unconscious. And Dr. Happy is also the domain of what am I willing to do to create happiness for myself? Dr. Quiet is the domain of rest and introspection. Dr. Diet is the domain of how do I feed myself? And Dr. Movement is the domain of movement. So each of those doctors is physical, emotional, and mental, all of which is spiritual. So when you look at those four doctors, where do you find yourself? What's the easiest elements of those for you to integrate, and where do you find yourself having to have discipline to in order to maintain Josh the way he sees as the ideal expression of himself?
First challenge in the four doctor would be Dr. Quiet. Yeah, because of this world, this media world that I'm in, like it's not a lot of quiet.
Yeah.
So the challenge for me is to literally structure and hold myself lovingly accountable to blocking out and being quiet.
Yeah.
That's actually a pole position. When I do quiet, everything stems from there for me. Because when I'm quiet, my nervous system feels safer. Then I make great food choices. Then I have the energy to move well, and then I'm feeling happier.
Yeah.
So that quiet one for me is like the keystone.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm an ambivert, so I need them all. I like them all. But without the quiet piece, the bridge doesn't work.
Can I give you a secret little technique to practice?
Bring on the secrets.
You're listening to me right now, right? Close your eyes. Notice when you're just listening to silence, with just listening through your heart and your whole being, just listening to silence. There's no ego there. You hear the sound of the birds and the traffic in the background. Just allow yourself to see how all that's just rising out of emptiness.
Just felt like a surge of heat there as well.
What's that?
I just felt like a surge of heat in that stillness.
Well, the thing that I'm trying to show you is that there's no ego when you actually just listen to silence. But what you find out is silence is absolutely explosive with life.
Maybe I'm feeling the explosiveness of life.
That's what you're hearing
really?
all around.
Ooh, that was so good.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
A very powerful way to deepen our relationship with Great Spirit. And that's what Great Spirit is. Great Spirit is the Spirit emerging out of the emptiness or the silence. That we get so engaged in life, we become identified with everything that's moving and dancing. And after a while, we forget that our roots are actually down in that beautiful, peaceful, silent, but somehow paradoxically, wickedly powerful place of no thing that gives birth to everything. That's what I was talking about on the panel yesterday. I call that it comes really, the concept I got from studying Gene Gesper's work. But really the concept is radical being. God is pure being, but God is so radical that everything is emerging out of that emptiness as the fullness, and that's the radicalness of being, right? People think that silence is just nothing, so they avoid it. Like, why bother? There's nothing there. I'm like, yeah, that's only because you've been listening with your head on.
Man, I did a 10-day Vipassana in 2016.
Yeah.
And I had never felt so many surges of love and anger.
Yeah,
in my
well, that's
life.
clearing it from
10
you.
days of, no masturbation, no meat, no talking, no looking, just breathing and being, and just focusing on the triangle and the nose. And that was one of the most transformational. I mean, you took me right back to it right now with the birds and the heat that I felt in my body. I think doing stuff like that, like a 3-day or a 10-day, it can be an entry point. It can be a powerful entry point for people. It definitely was for me.
You know, I love to masturbate with a vagina. Have you noticed how much more fun that is?
It's so, yes. That's one of my favorite things.
Yeah. When I come back in my next life, I'm going to have a vagina on each hand.
That's beautiful, Paul.
Yeah.
I've never thought about having a vagina on my hand.
That way I'll be fully self-contained. I'm just giving you a tip to, think about it in the future so you can create it for yourself.
Wow.
Then you will be the androgynous being. Think how close to God you'll be.
Paul, I feel like now we are in the 4D.
We are.
Now we're living 4D.
We're in the fourth dimension. Show. Yeah. I'm an inventor, so I like to think. Speaking of that, did you ever hear about the time Henry Ford met God?
No.
You haven't? Would you like to?
What happened when Henry Ford met God?
Well, Henry Ford died and he went to heaven and he was sitting in a cafe having an espresso and he was just happy to kind of be able to let go of all the stress of running the business. And all of a sudden, God came and sat next to him and God says, Henry, it's so nice to see you. He says, I just wanted to let you know I'm very proud of your inventions. And Henry Ford was just stunned. He's like, you were watching? You know about the automobile? He said, oh, yes, I watched the whole development of it. You did very good. And Henry Ford says, well, if you have any feedback on how to make it better, I would love to hear about it. And God says, well, if you have any feedback for any of my inventions, I'd love to hear about it too. So God thinks about it for a minute, and Henry Ford thinks about it for a minute. And Henry says, well, God, if you're really open to an honest discussion, I do have some feedback for you. And God says, well, why, sure, I highly respect you as an inventor. He said, God, he says, when you invented woman, you put the intake a little too close to the exhaust. and God smiles and he said, that might be true, Henry, but a lot more people ride my invention than ride yours. So, tell me, I used to tell jokes in class, but in every class, I would tell one of my favorite jokes like that, and there'd be somebody in there that would get terribly offended. Right? Like right now,
that's how you know it's a good joke.
That I'm sure right now there's some woman rushing to her typewriter to write.
She's literally unsubscribing right now. How dare you? Hands on vaginas? What's going on?
Yeah, talking about God and vaginas on hands and masturbation in the same conversation is just totally sinful. Well, the devil loves to dance, and if you don't dance with the devil dances you, so there's the option. What's exciting in your life right now?
Most exciting thing is calling in divine feminine.
Yeah.
Creating partnerships, seeing my children come to life.
Which children?
The one that I saw in the bucket in Costa Rica.
Oh, so you see them in the future?
I've seen my son's face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That'll be exciting for you.
Yes. I'm fine. You know what's interesting? I'm actually ready compared to when before I would say I was ready and I really wasn't.
No.
So now I'm ready.
Yeah. Well, I had my first son when I just turned 18. I was only 2 weeks 18 before my son was
Welcome
born.
to adulthood.
And yeah, he'll be 40 in September, but I have tremendous empathy for him because to be my son when I was so hell-bent for leather, to pull it all together and under tremendous stress, and to be a paratrooper. Having a father that's a paratrooper is a very tough existence. It's such a high intensity. Like you go to work every day, and it's just like
Yes.
jacked to the nines, and they keep you under a lot of pressure because they want you constantly ready for war. So you come home and you're just outgassing all this stress and intensity, and long story short, but you're at a point now where you're really ready to be a father because you know what it means to be a child now, right? That pain that you have in you is your reminder of how not to raise a child and what a child needs. What are you looking for in a woman? Let's open the dating service here.
Yeah. I'm accepting applications.
Yeah.
What I sense in women that I feel magnetized to is that they live their life on purpose.
Yeah.
They have a purpose. She is powerful because she leads her life on purpose from her heart, and she loves and cares about her body, and she just has a general fascination and curiosity about wellness. She just wants to live her life well.
Yeah.
I know that when I look at her, she's interested and she's curious about how to live her life well. That's who she is.
Are you ready to find the right woman?
Yeah.
Would you like me to teach you how to do it?
Let's do this. Yeah.
Repeat after me. I'm going to teach you the soulmate's prayer that got Penny to me. And I had her come to me in a vision after a year and a half of meditating on this prayer. Step number 1 is you write down everything that you want in your ideal partner. Step number 2 is for everything you want, you write down what you're willing to give of yourself to meet her at that place. Step number 3 is you say Paramahansa Yogananda's soulmate prayer every morning, and you go into silence and thank the universe for bringing her to you and state what you're willing to give to her in reciprocity. And then you just give yourself time to be present with that and to call her through your heart, call out to her. And then things will start happening inside of you when she's getting closer. I saw Penny as clear as a bell, and it scared me. It was so powerful.
Why did it scare you?
Because I didn't ever want to get married again. And the instant that I saw her, I knew we were going to get married. I was meditating on the beach in the Gold Coast of Australia between seminars, between workshops. And I saw her face appear very clearly. And I thought, oh my God, that's the woman I'm going to be with. And I'm scared because I know I'm going to get married, but I'm afraid to get married again because that first 17-year round was not exactly a walk in the park a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And so my next workshop, I walk in. This is back in the days of slides before these fancy projectors. I'm setting up the screen. I turn around and Penny walks through the door, and it's exactly her. And every meridian in my body lit up like a Christmas tree. I couldn't breathe. I'm like, oh my God, I hope that girl doesn't ask me a question. I'm not even going to be able to talk to her. The first hand that goes up is Penny.
Man.
She even tell you, she said, oh my God, I was so worried. I flew all the way from New Zealand to take a workshop from you, and I thought you were a bumbling idiot. You could barely talk. But now she understands the story. But we were together for 4 days and we got engaged, and we've been married 22 years, and I would never, ever, ever consider anything but working through life with her. She's the Buddha.
Yeah.
She's given me everything. So I'm trying to inspire you to say,
Yes, I'm ready for the codes.
this works. Ready? Repeat after me.
Yeah.
Bless me that I choose
Bless me that I choose
my life companion
my life companion
according to the laws
according to the laws
of perfect soul union.
of perfect soul union.
Bless me that I choose
Bless me that I choose
my life companion
my life companion
according to the laws
according to the laws
of perfect soul union.
of perfect soul union.
That's your prayer. That's your process. If you're really ready, so is she. But be patient. I'm from San Diego, California. I met Penny in Canberra, Australia. She's from England. She then was living in New Zealand managing a gym. She was actually the queen of New Zealand's snow. She was the snow queen, the winter festival queen. She flew 5 hours, I think it is, 4.5 hours from New Zealand to Australia. Point I'm making is your partner could be on the other side of the world. she might even be, Penny was in a relationship to a guy and they thought they were going to get married, or at least he thought he was going to
When
get
she walked through the door?
When I met her,
Oh, shit.
when I was making love to her.
Yeah.
And she and I both realized we're supposed to be together.
Isn't it crazy the power of the vacuum that's created with the masculine and feminine?
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck? Is there anything more profound to feel? Do you think there's anything more profound to feel than that?
Yeah.
I haven't experienced it
There's
yet.
one thing, but you have to have that to feel the next thing. My first profound enlightenment experience was watching Paul Jr. come out of the birth canal, watching him be born. At 18, my son was coming out of the birth canal, and it was as though I got hit by a lightning bolt of love, and it just fucking rattled me, man, in the most beautiful way. I mean, just tears were just pouring out of my eyes. And remember, I was an 18-year-old badass. I mean, I was a boxer, a kickboxer, a motocross racer, a stock car racer. I mean, I was full on, right? So I was like all man, alpha male.
And that dropped you to your
And
knees
that
for a
just
moment.
just turned me into a puddle. I'm like, oh my God. And I still, every time I see him, I mean, him and I have a challenging relationship sometimes because he's got a lot of his father in him. But whenever I look at him, I remember how powerful of a moment that was.
I sense that in my brother. He's such a powerful father. You talked about earlier receiving certain things of contrast to remind you the pain is there in the body so that there's love present in parenting relationships. Yeah. My brother's such a beautiful father. He's such a loving, present, patient father. Yeah. And it's everything that, and I love my father too because my father did the best he could.
Yeah.
Watching my brother, it echoes all the things that he and I never saw as truth when we were kids.
Yeah.
And it's allowed me to be even more excited about the thought of being a father, watching my brother.
You said your father left early, right?
Yeah, really. I mean, I'm talking 2 months old. I was born 4.5 pounds premature.
Wow.
Like I was in an incubator for the first 2 weeks of my life.
Wow.
Crazy.
So has your father and you stayed connected?
Connected to the degree that he's able to stay connected with me.
Right.
Yeah.
What does he do?
He's retired. He actually was the director of operations for San Diego Transit, the bus company, San Diego, for a while.
Neat.
He worked his way up, driving buses and whatnot. Yeah. He had insane health problems when he was young. Psoriatic arthritis. Wow. Parents, their extremely dogmatic religion, I think, drove a lot of that.
Yeah.
And so my relationship with my father was very tenuous, very stretched as a kid. And a lot of it, I think I knew the whole time that he was suffering.
Yeah.
And I think even as young as I can remember, I felt compassion for him and the duality of anger that I wasn't getting what I wanted.
Yeah.
I can look back on that and be like, oh, they were both there.
Yeah.